Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I am Anareta Beshaliva, along with co-host Dr. Victor Fett, Dr. Katerina Shrey, and our program producer, Professor Larry Sherray. We host a weekly discussion panel on Russia's war on Ukraine with guests from Ukraine, military experts, medical personnel, academics, artists, literary figures, and relief workers. Our panel is recorded and circulated nationally and internationally. We appreciate your comments and feedback. Special thanks to Marshall University Libraries and MUIT for making this weekly event possible. If you are joining us live on Teams, please feel free to use the chat to post any question for our guest. A quick greetings to our viewers in Ukraine from Dr. Katerina Shrey.
Вітаємо наших слухачів в Україні з глибоким покліном. Ми далі свідки вашого страшного терпіння і також вашої великої сили. Дякую вам за вашу участь в нашій тижневій програмі.
Thank you, Katerina. Today's guest will be introduced by Dr. Victor Fett.
Thank you, Anara. It's my honor and pleasure to welcome back our contributor, Dr. Petro Strizhak, live from Kyiv, Ukraine. As the whole world watches amazing events unraveling in the Middle East, we remember that many, if not most, attack drones, Shaheds, which bomb Ukrainian territory for 3 years, have been of Iranian origin, and hopefully their number will be now drastically diminished. Dr. Strizhak, who was our frequent contributor on this program, is a chemistry professor, corresponding member of the Ukrainian Academy of Sciences, and head of the Department of the Institute of Physical Chemistry, National Academy of Sciences of Ukraine. He joins us with his report from Kyiv. Please, Peter.
Thank you very much, Victor. Just one small correction. I have been already elected as a full member of the National Academy of Science of Ukraine. So anyway, just.
Well, that's important. That's actually, that is a very, very prestigious organization. Congratulations. That is important. That is a world-class prestigious organization. Gratuluję.
Thank you very much. So thank you very much for inviting me to this panel to say my thoughts, my feelings, my opinion regarding the war between Russia and Ukraine, regarding Russian occupation of the part of my country. During last month, I guess that was the most hard missile attack and drone attack on Ukraine, and especially on Kyiv. I guess that 3 weeks ago, no, they started, I guess, 4 weeks ago, and during 3 weeks, almost during 3 weeks, it was non-stop attack, maybe 1 day break, and then, I mean, on Kyiv and on other cities as well. Of course, Kharkiv is under drone attack, missile attack, bomb attack every day. That's just near the border with Ukraine. Odessa is under attack. They have a lot of buildings were destroyed in Odessa and other cities, Rivne, Ivano-Frankivsk. But I will say about Kyiv, because typically if Russians organize strike on Ukraine, always some part of drones and missiles striking the capital of Ukraine, my lovely city, Kyiv. And that time it was the, for me it's hard to say that it was the highest or the biggest kind of missile and drone attack on Kyiv. but people who calculated number of drones, number of missiles striking Kyiv and regions nearby, they counted that that was the most hard attack during the whole war. And what I will basically, they started attack. Typically, they started their attack around noon or maybe noon, and it lasted during 6, 8, 9, or even 10 hours. As a result, many buildings were damaged in Kyiv. Many buildings were destroyed, and people were killed. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of people during the last. I mean, civilians, not military people, civilians in Kyiv. We lost many people during last month. So, and as I told you during my previous talks on this panel, people who I'm working with, nobody left Kyiv during the whole war. So basically, everybody stayed in Kyiv since the very beginning of the war, February 24th, 2022. So at the war lasts 3 years and more than 3 years and 3 months. So a lot of different attacks happened during that time, damages, people were killed, but only during this last month, for the first time, I have seen among my friends and among my co-workers that they were tired. They became to be afraid, because, for example, in the beginning, nobody. I mean, of course, somebody was afraid. A lot of people were afraid of the strikes, but you know, it was different. So during last months, something happened. Maybe people are tired of the war, but I don't. Of course, they are tired, but I don't think that's the main reason. Maybe because Russians are continuously occupying kilometer by kilometer of our land on the south of Ukraine. I have no explanation, but it doesn't mean that people don't believe that we will stay. People still brave. Everybody is sure regarding that there is no way that Russians will occupy all my country, or something bad may happen. No, not something like that, but something, something has been changed inside people. As example, for example, my neighbor, he was not going to basement during these attacks, but last week he decided that maybe he should go to the basement. My co-worker, she decided to go frequently to basement during the air strikes. But before, she never came to basement to be safe there. She always stayed at her apartment. Maybe people started to be more afraid of their lives. Maybe some psychological things happened inside mind. I don't know, basically, but definitely not understanding of the war, the feeling of the war, the feeling of this strike, the feeling of drones, that changed inside many of people, many of my friends, many of my co-workers, at least inside people whom I am working with and whom I am communicating with. So, but again, it does not mean that we are ready to lose, that we don't think about our victory. No, no way, and definitely everybody believes in our victory. Again, it depends on how they define the victory. That's another topic that I don't wish to consider. But everybody believes in our victory, and even polls we have, I guess, each week we have polls what people think about the end of the war, and the most of people, they don't think, and right now they don't think that we should lose part of our land, part of our territory. So basically everybody, not everybody, but most of people, they are thinking that we should liberate the part of Ukraine which is occupied these days by Russia. So I guess it's something like people are tired. Maybe I don't know, but maybe in 2 weeks they will recover. By the way, during this, today we celebrate 4 days in Kyiv without strikes. So there were no strikes. That's the first time during last month. The 4 days without airstrikes by missiles or drones or whatever. For example, as to me, I have never went to basement during airstrikes, but sometime I am living in the center of the city, and sometimes I'm going to my building outside the city in small village nearby, and the drone, it has a very specific, it produces very specific noise and in the city once, and when I am outside, so and I am living nearby some specific objects, so it's a lot of drones during airstrike, a lot of drones, just a numerous number of drones, and I have seen different kind of weapons, how our air defense forces destroyed them. And I would say that basically that time I counted that there were something like 12, maybe I guess 12 or 13 drones, and our air forces destroyed all of them by 4 different types of weapons. So lucky we are. But again, when then I came back to the city, I heard the same kind of noise produced by some machine, and I was just afraid. Oh, it's a drone, but it was just a thought for 1 second. Then I realized that, of course, it's not a drone. It's just some motor machines that was working somewhere, but the noise was the same. So maybe, you know, so and I guess that maybe if we will not have airstrikes during next 3 days, maybe next week, maybe people will recover, and that kind of I would say it's sort of to be tired, something like that. Maybe that will be gone, and people will be recovered. I don't know. We'll see anyway. So that's just part of our life. But I guess that the most how to say it, the most sad for everybody. Again, I am talking about people who I am familiar with, about my friends, my co-workers. I'm not talking about public media or what is written in public. So the most sad thing is that the way that how we lose our land. And every day, unfortunately, we watch on TV how it goes on, and that's just it's not dangerous. So it's I have no word to explain it, because the main tactics of Russians these days is very simple. They demolish everything. So they go forward meter by meter, mile by mile, but very slow, very slow. There is somebody calculated that in this way, in order to occupy Ukraine, they need something like 200 or 300 years, and they should lose population 2 times more comparing to the whole population of Russia these days. But anyway, they go forward, they demolish everything. Just hour ago, I was watching news and Ukrainian news, and they showed a village. For that village, it was a battle for last, I guess, 3 months. So during 3 months, they just occupied one small village, but the village was totally destroyed. Just the land, bricks, stones, no buildings, nothing. Just nothing. Just gray land like a moon landscape. And it's a new word in our vocabulary, moon landscape, not just moon landscape on the moon or moon landscape on tide in Canary Islands. No, moon landscape for Ukrainians these days means the city that has been totally destroyed by Russians. So they organize they again, somebody counted that around that village, Russians performed 1,000 bomb strikes. So they, and each bomb is between 500 kilo and 1,000 kilo of explosives. In Kiev, I have never seen strike by bomb like that, but my friend in Kharkiv, he observed that kind of strike when the bomb hit the ground near his institute. It's not near, just a little bit far, but the explosion was so huge, so much damage that there is no words even to describe it. And a lot of people died. So, but and they just small village. That means well, I don't know how many, maybe 200 houses, maybe 100 houses, and 1,000 bombs. Just imagine what may happen with any village after that kind of bomb attack on the village. But anyway, in spite of the war, in spite of that Russian continuous non-stop occupation of our land during last year, probably, yeah, maybe even more. We are working, we are brave. For example, in my institute, people are very enthusiastic performing a scientific study. So basically, everybody is involved. I wouldn't say that everybody is involved in scientific research. I wouldn't say. I compared, for example, that how people were working and how they were productive in scientific sense before the war and last year. And it's very interesting that the productivity of our research increased, not too much, but it didn't go down. Number of studies, number of experiments, number of publications, number of oral presentations, participation in international conferences, basically that increased during last year comparing to the year before the war. That's very interesting, and I guess that that may be caused by two main factors. The reasons. The reason number one, obviously, that's the support from United States and from Europe. I mean, not military support. I am talking about financial support. I'm talking because there are a lot of. I'm talking right now. I'm talking only about science, not social things, not government, not military, because for scientific research we have a lot of different kind of sources to support. For example, we may publish our papers in scientific journals, open access without charging for the processing fee. We have some special, I mean, everybody may apply for a small grant to participate in any kind of international conference. We have some grants from European Union, from United States. For example, in my institute, I guess we have 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 or 5 grants that financially support. I guess 2 from United States and 2 from Europe and 1 from NATO. And also inside Ukraine, we have special scientific fund that mainly is filled up by foreign finances, and we may apply, and those money are pretty, pretty large amount of money for our scientific study. So financial part, I mean, international support of my country, that's one part that definitely supported increasing scientific research in at least in my institute. And the other part, I guess, that the people they realized that they should work. They should work more for productivity. They should work, I wouldn't say more, I mean, they should more work. No, I mean, more effectively, maybe. They became more responsible for the studies they are doing. They do care about the studies they are conducting. So I guess, yeah, the right word would be they became more responsible for their scientific research, understanding that showing that Ukraine is alive by science, that we are doing good science, and we are obtaining interesting results which are important for the rest of the world. I guess that is the main driving force for scientists in Ukraine. So far, so good. I guess that everything should be good for Ukraine, thanks to the support from United States, of course, because of last events. It's not so huge as it was before, but anyway, we have the support from United States. We have support from European Union. We have support from other countries. At least, hopefully, and I am proud of that. We significantly increased ammunition production inside Ukraine and near the border of Ukraine, I mean west border. So I guess all these things and of course the money came from United States and from European Union, from other funds. I don't know all funds. I don't know what is the basket of all funds we are receiving, but anyway, definitely I say that's international support. And looking forward, I guess that I have read a very nice sentence that I do like very much. I read it, I guess, a couple of days ago, that uh, occupying, slowly occupying Ukrainian land, Russian army is going to lose. So something like that. That means that victory definitely is waiting for Ukraine. We'll see how it will be, and what is concerns the uh, opinion which is widespread in public media that the war may last years and years, and what is important that our society is basically ready to face years of the war, and people are ready to defend Ukraine till the end of the war. Definitely should be the Ukrainian victory, and everybody in Ukraine believes in our victory. So, at the end of my talk, again, I would like to say my great thanks and thanks of everybody who I know, to you, to your panel, to your country, to European countries, to all countries which are supporting my country in our uh, uh, fight against Russia in this war, in our fight to defend our country, to defend our values, to defend our democracy, to defend our lives. Thank you very much. I guess I didn't take too much time.
No, we have plenty of time, and thank you for being with us this evening. And I open the panel for Any questions that people may have, please open your microphone. Your questions and comments. We thank you, Peter, once again for amazing report. Dr. Deutsch, please.
Hi. To what degree have Europeans been able to fill the void left by the United States' withdrawal of some level of support? Can you comment on that?
Well, okay. I will comment you just in part. So we believe, because, well, you may understand that I cannot say everything that I know, but we believe that European countries are able to support us to defend Ukraine. But without support from United States, we cannot get a victory in this war. If I guess that's a short sentence that says that, okay, we may continue this war as long as it lasts with European Union, but we cannot stop the war without United States. That is common opinion among my friends. It's my opinion as well.
Thank you.
Please, any more comments and questions?
Comments and
please.
just reaction. It is heartbreaking to hear that you actually have a new term, a moon landscape, that now has taken on new meaning. You know, it's throughout history we've seen words go from a neutral meaning to a pejorative meaning, or sometimes to a positive meaning. But this is clearly devastating. The idea of a moon landscape, the term for a city totally destroyed by Russia. So I appreciate very much you sharing that with us. That's genuinely heartbreaking. And it kind of calls into the question, like the idea of bombing a village. Why? I mean, there's no military strategy. There's no, it's all about it's about destruction and death. There's no strategic purpose to bombing a village of like 1,000 houses. That's insane. That's just insane. So that's one reaction. Just a little bit of news for you. The bombing in Ternopil, and I think in Lviv, hit very hard here in America, because until the new generation of immigrants, most immigrants are like my parents, and they came from Western Ukraine. So whereas their hearts have been breaking for Ukraine for since the war began, I mean, there's no question about that. It's somehow hearing Ternopil was bombed for a lot of, but like in fact, one of my friends' mom lives there still. She's fine, you know, but it's I don't want to say renewed attention, because attention in the Ukrainian immigrant community has never wavered. The Ukrainian community, it's still to this day, that's the only thing that we talk about. But it does, I think, maybe make us appreciate more the immediate danger that you are in Kyiv every day. And then the third thing, the idea of people now are going to shelters. I'm amazed at how you all have been living in a state of constant physical and emotional and psychological stress. There's been no break. I don't like, this is such a testament to the strength of humanity, and Ukrainians, I guess, in particular. When you talked about hearing a sound that it was like a drone, that's like I've heard this when we were children. Whenever a plane flew overhead, my mother would call us in, even though it was just the plane. It was like literally, but in her childhood, that meant bombs. And so I am just, I appreciate so much everything you've shared with us today, because it does bring back into like immediate reality the lived experience of our brothers and sisters in Ukraine, which is not, that human part is not always talked about in our media. So I really, really appreciate this. And I hope you're okay. I mean, I hope your family is okay. I know your son's apartment was bombed last year or 2 years ago on New Year's Eve. I remember those amazing photos showing that destruction. And I hope everyone that you love is okay.
Yes. Well, thank you for your comment, and I wish to make comment to your comment, basically. So it's, I guess, it's a question that not too many people understand regarding why Russians are bombing civilians, why they are destroying our civilian buildings, why they are destroying our civilian infrastructure, why they are destroying our villages. So if we have time, it's my personal thought. We should look back into the history of Ukraine. Ukraine during since 1917, since great October social revolution, since the Soviet Union was established, till Soviet Union was destroyed, more than 50 million of Ukrainians were killed. Population of Ukraine at the moment of the Soviet Union destruction was approximately 50 million. So almost whole population of the country was destroyed. And why? Because basically during Soviet Union period of time, and it started before Soviet Union, it started during Russia Tsar regime, it started in 1775. It was a policy of Russian Empire to eliminate Ukrainians, unfortunately. That policy caused the first immigration wave at the end of the 19th century, the second immigration wave, and the third during Second World War, but that's different. So basically, it's a genocide of our people. That's genocide of Ukrainians. And when this war started, I mean, active phase of the war started in 2022, the Russian army consisted of two parts. 2/3 was a military part, and 1/3 was special forces that their aim was eliminating Ukrainians.
Oh.
And after they failed with this idea, after we kicked them off, after we eliminated all that army, after that, I mean, their idea, it's hard to, I mean, it's hard to believe, and it's hard to realize it in mind of people in Europe, in States, and even here in Ukraine. Not too many people understand that. That basically they change I mean, they change the way how they eliminate Ukrainians. So they just go step by step, eliminating villages, eliminating cities, eliminating people. For example, I should be honest, on the south part of Ukraine, there are a lot of, not a lot of people, some people will say, that prefer to live under Russia, but not under Ukraine. Okay, that's fine. That's people are people, but in one part of the Donetsk region, these people decided to wait for Russians. When Russians came, they killed all of them.
Wow. The people who were waiting for the Russians, who were welcoming the Russians.
Right.
Wow.
Because you know, they didn't realize that they are waiting for them. They thought, okay, these are Ukrainians, they should kill them.
Wow.
So basically, all Russian soldiers, maybe not all again, but I mean, that's the kind of policy to eliminate everybody in Ukraine. So that's just genocide. It's not a simple war like a war between, okay, well, I would not say between countries. That wouldn't be polite, but that's a genocide war. It's a war to eliminate country. But by eliminating country, it does not mean that they occupy country. People will live here and cities will stay, villages will be the same. No way. They wish to eliminate villages, cities, people.
That's hard to it's just hard to accept that as a human being. I mean, to some extent, I understand people being in denial about because that is such evil. That is the idea that someone just wants to obliterate an entire people. I mean, we understand it intellectually, but I mean, it's hard to reconcile that. You know, it's and I mean, there are other countries, famously in the I'm losing my words, but famously, the Constitution of Gaza has it the destruction of Israel. So we have other examples of this, but it is just so hard to. It is very hard to. I think it's just hard for people to understand the good people. I mean, not good necessarily good people, just people to understand the obsession with destroying another people. It's just hard to understand that. I mean, I understand it intellectually, but. No, I appreciate your explanation very much. It's a very, very powerful story. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us. It's always so good to see you.
Thank you, Peter. I had a few questions of my own, but I would yield gladly to anyone who has more comments or questions, please. As you think, meanwhile, one of my critical questions is there any communication between Ukraine and the occupied territories of Ukraine, like Crimea, like Mariupol? Do people, relatives who stay there, communicate freely? And what do they tell? Is it well known? Is it publicized?
That's a question. Well, okay. So basically, we have communication with people from occupied territory. Like, if you wish, you may communicate with people in Russia. So there is no restrictions in Ukraine for that kind of communication. So myself, I particularly decided that I stopped all my communication with Russians since 2014, when they started occupying Crimea region. So but I have a friend who was communicating with Russians till the 2023, I guess, something like that. So it's, I mean, it's personal. So it's up to you. And if another story with your relatives, of course, if you have relatives on occupied territory, then you be honest, you have a chance to communicate with them. It's a problem, of course, but you have a possibility to communicate with your relatives, with your friends. But okay, well, just two examples. One example, a friend of mine, he has a relative on occupied territory, and she was able to move from occupied territory to Ukrainian part of territory, and then she came back, and so she did it several times. Another a friend of mine, he is communicating with her and asking why you didn't decide to stay in Ukraine, I mean, in unoccupied part of Ukraine. So she told that some specific reasons. She has some other relative who is unable to move, so she should take care of that relative. So that's one story. Another story, I mean, that's how to say positive, if it may be positive. Another story, another friend of mine, he has relative in some occupied region, and he was communicating maybe couple of times, but then he stopped because that's very dangerous for the guy who is on occupied territory. In that case, I mean, if somebody will realize that they were communicating, that would be a lot of bad things to that guy. So they just decided to stop communicating with each other because of survival reason for the guy on occupied territory. So different cases, are different cases, and I wouldn't say that you cannot communicate, and I wouldn't say that you can communicate. Everything is dependable on specific situation, and it's very dependable on the region of the part of occupied territory. For example, with Crimea, I guess it's much more easy comparing to Donetsk or Lugansk or whatever.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I have a
Anara,
question.
please.
Thank you
Yes.
very much for your very timely report, especially situation drastically changed recently. And I like that you talked about ordinary people. Usually villages are forgotten. Nobody reports, nobody talks about this. We could not find them in our news. Quite often they show cities, big actually urban areas, but very rare villages. That's why I think it's very important moment you touched, and how to restore life in Ukrainian villages. And villages are more conservative compared to the urban areas. And I meant in terms of public service centers, economic and cultural revitalization, and especially job creation for younger people, because young people tend to live rural areas and they prefer cities. Also, what do you think about mental health services, and also education for children and young people? Because it's the most important actually capital in a rural area.
Yeah. That's well, okay. So let me specify. So the first part concerned the occupied territory. When we liberate it, how we will restore it.
I think both, because everything was damaged, even villages, what actually were not occupied, but young people are leaving, they're moving, there's a migration. And for younger people, it's easier to migrate. And the problem is, can they return back? Or what to do in the future? Because the fabric of village life is damaged.
Yeah, that's a huge problem. Okay, well, assume we liberate our territory. So I guess that the restoration process will be very dependable on the village, on the city, on the specific area. I wish not say title of city or village. I will just explain you what people told me. I mean, when they left that part of Ukraine, because I have a lot of friends from the occupied territory, They moved to the western part of Ukraine. They moved to Europe. Some of them moved to United States. So one thought, okay, I will tell you result and then explain. One thought people told me, it's not just one person, it's an area where I have a lot of friends. It's opinion of different people. They told me, no way we will come back. But that industrial area, was organized as industrial part of former Soviet Union, then of Ukraine, and because everything was destroyed, to restore it in the way it was before the war, it will take, I guess, 10, 15 years. And you may understand, friends of mine, they are 40, 50 years old. So no way for them to organize their life, and God knows when the war ends. So that's one way of thinking. The other way of thinking is interesting, actually. I'm just thinking about your question. I am reminding myself what people told me, and take another, a small village which is agricultural, where people are living just, cultivating land, growing some plants, whatever. So they told that they will come back for sure, but that not on the south, that on the eastern part of Ukraine. I don't know about south, and on the south also I know some industrial area. People told that, okay, when the war ends, doesn't matter when, we will come back. So it depends on the area, it depends on the mentality, it depends on the history, and of course it depends on the size of local community. If local community is not a big size, definitely they will come back. But if it's a huge industrial area and people were living because of some huge industry, it's very hard. It's very hard. It would be very hard. So that was the first part of your question, and I forgot the second part. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the second is because of you mentioned that maybe older people remember hardship of the war. For young people, it's a more stress, and they don't know what to actually do. They need more help.
Yeah.
And that's actually totally different situation with older population and younger people. And they actually, for them, it's more brutal experience.
Yeah. That's you are right. You touched a very big problem that we are facing. Young people, they feel themselves differently during the war comparing to older people. Hopefully, educational level is the same. Higher education is also the same, but we have a problem that the number of young people decreased 2 times, and because of 2 reasons. Part immigrated to, not immigrated, moved to Europe or other countries, part left on the occupied territory. So, and that's a problem because we have a bigger amount of schools and bigger amount of universities that we need right now. But in future, we will need all of them. So it's a problem, and hopefully government is trying to support to keep it on the level as it these days. But I don't know what happens in the future. Everything depends on the financial support, on the education in school, because definitely education in school, it keeps changing these days, and our Ministry of Education is trying to adjust school education to the modern demand of life in Ukraine, to jobs, whatever. So it's a very big problem, and but I guess everybody understands it. I wouldn't say that we are solving it, but at least we are trying to solve it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Slight-
Katerina,
slightly off-
please.
Oh, yeah, it's slightly off topic, but as you and Anara were speaking, it reminded me of something. I've spent some time in Philadelphia a couple of weeks ago, where there are many Ukrainian Americans, and this is just something very sweet. I don't know if this is going to be useful at all, but there are a lot of older people in their 80s who have and who have amassed like collections of Ivan Franko, Shevchenko, Pantelimon Kulish, Plusht, just the Shatnik. There's a lot. There's who have books of this, and they're all saying, "Oh, when Ukraine is free, we will send these to Ukraine to replenish the libraries." I don't know how practical that is. I don't know how helpful that is, but it is a very sweet thought. It is a very sweet thought. I mean, everything now is on the internet, so for the most part, but it is just a it's a very sweet thought of a generation for whom this war, it's painful for everybody, but they fled Ukraine during war now, and they've worked so hard to preserve the culture here, and now they're seeing villages bombed. And for them, this is very difficult emotionally and depressing. And so it's just very sweet when they're saying, "Oh, make sure this goes back to Ukraine and make sure this goes back to Ukraine." It's just something I just wanted to tell you. I mean, I don't know how useful. I doubt you need collections of books that you have plenty of, but it's just very sweet.
Oh, I will tell you a story. More than 20 years ago, I was working in Alaska for a couple of months, and some nurse, I don't know how she found me that time. So, but she realized that I am from Ukraine. I don't remember times. That time was like we had sort of some disease in Ukraine, whatever, doesn't matter. So, but she came to me and she told me, okay, I am collecting some medical stuff for people, but I always collecting some books for Ukrainians. It was such a surprise for me, and she gave me, so I took 2 bags of medical stuff
Oh, wow.
from Alaska to Ukraine by flight that time, and I have friends in hospitals, so I widespread that stuff in those hospitals. But that's exactly what you are saying. I mean, that's I don't know how to say. It's just examples that show that you're absolutely right, and it shows that definitely it will be useful. It doesn't. I mean, in any case.
It's really sweet. It's really sweet.
Thank you, Peter. We are near the end of the hour, and it's 10 o'clock in Kiev. We may take more questions from the audience, please, but as they think, we thank you once again. Oh, yes, Leslie, please.
All right, this is less of a question specifically for Dr. Strizhak, because I'm sure he's not an expert in these matters, but I was just wanting to open the floor for discussion of the Israeli strikes on Iran and whether or not that will, in particular, my mother asked me last night whether that would have an effect on the drone sent by Iran to Russia. And I told her that probably the nuclear facilities aren't necessarily anywhere close to where the drones are produced, but the killings of people in the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps might gum up the works to some extent. But I don't know if anybody here has any better information or better insights than that.
So, excuse me. So what is the question?
It's less of a question. Well, the question is basically whether anybody has better information than what I just said.
Oh, no.
We don't, there is not enough data yet, although I have seen that, of course, the first wave of Israeli strikes was specifically directed against SS-300 anti-aircraft systems, and I have seen information that Shahid factory was also targeted. Obviously, there was 100 Israeli fighter jets over Tehran this night, and they were acting free. So basically, it looks like Iranian skies open, and hopefully they will have much less drones to send to Russia. That's kind of obvious. Right now, I'm watching a live feed, and there is retaliation by Iran. Some missiles reached Israel, were not intercepted. Looks like there are no casualties, but some people were wounded from the missile landing somewhere around Tel Aviv. And Israel specifically, I'm just reading this from information feed, and looks like Israel warned Iran not to retaliate. Otherwise, Israel will target now oil refineries, which make, of course, the bulk of Iranian industry. So this is just a beginning. And I'm pretty sure we will see, and Israel says so, that it will continue. For a while, looks like it is a very, very important step globally. What we are seeing is obviously, you don't have to call it Third World War, but in my opinion, at least since full-scale invasion, it has been a network of wars probing the fabric of the world in different places, and including, by the way, informational war, which is why we are here, because people are so tired everywhere. I mean, not Ukrainians under the bombs here. I mean, people who don't want to hear about other people and spend their vacations right now in peaceful places, which may be not so peaceful next Tuesday. We are all involved, and the world is so interconnected that I'm sounding very balanced, trying to say so. Thank you all very much for being with us today. The recording, as always, will be available soon, and I hope many people will watch the report from Kiev, and we are not stopping. We're here every week for 172 weeks. This was MUkraine podcast at Marshall University, West Virginia. I will ask Dr. Shrey to say a couple of final words to our Ukrainian viewers, please.
Дорогі браття і сестри в Україні, ми зберігаємо вас у наших щоденних думках і молитвах. Нехай милосердний Бог тримає вас у своїй опіці. До наступного тижня. Прощаємося.
Слава Україні!
Героям слава!